Welcome to Rice TVx and the latest transmission of Stranger Than Fiction. Now, I just scheduled this live stream about an hour and a half ago, so I want to give everybody plenty of time to get into the stream. Going to be playing some advertisements from the sponsors of Rice TVx and a promotional video, again, to give everybody time to get into the stream. So if you just so happen to be watching this on replay, if you don't want to watch all the intro stuff, I would skip about 4.5 minutes or so. And all the information will be listed down below for the sponsors of Rice TVx, which includes BitSwap Dex, Monarch, and Presearch.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap will get you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.com.
And the sponsors of Rice TVx actually make it very quite possible for me to keep doing this, in addition to the contributions that I get from all the viewers and subscribers, which I very much thank. And again, information is down below in the video description. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. I really greatly appreciate it, especially on such short notice. But again, please share this video. If you hit that thumbs up, it helps other people to be able to see this information in the YouTube algorithm flow. And if you're no fan of Russell J. Gould, you'll definitely want people to see this video. As I mentioned, I'm trying to give plenty of time for everybody to join in. So we got a real quick promo video, and then we're going to get into today's video. If this just happens to be your first time ever watching any of my videos, I do encourage you to check out and explore my channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my videos as they come out. Also, due to all the recent censorship, make sure you subscribe to my backup channel, Rice TVx 2, the sequel. And I've also recently deleted more than half of my videos on my main YouTube channel, which means you can find 100% of my content plus exclusive videos over on Odysee and LBRY. If you haven't already, be sure to visit ricetvx.com and sign up for the mailing list so that you never miss an update or new Rice TVx content. You can also find all my social media links as well as merchandise that is coming soon. If you'd like to support the channel directly, consider joining my Patreon, where I have 3 different levels of membership, or if you'd like to send a direct contribution or tip, I have my Cash App information, PayPal, and my CoinTree link for cryptocurrency addresses listed below in the video description. Take advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Get your free ½ ounce of silver. All you need to do is be a first-time buyer, visit moneymetals.com, purchase a minimum of $100, and use the promo code RICE. You get that free ½ ounce of silver, and it's another way to support the channel. I will include links down below in the video description for everything I just mentioned, as well as everything that we talk about on today's show. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that was 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So that's about what I said, about 4.5 minutes. If you fast forward it to 5, you might want to take it back 30 seconds. Okay, so I spoke with Sgt Robert Horton last week, and we were supposed to do an interview today. We did do an unreleased interview a couple times, right at the very end of January, and he ultimately didn't want those videos to come out. Today, he has finally given me permission to release some of the information. I can't release the video. There's some information that he didn't want to go out publicly, and I respect that. Sergeant, if you're watching this, thank you. I really appreciate. For those of you who don't know who Sgt Robert Horton is, he was one of the individuals that was helping to tell the story of who Russell J. Gould was. And it was in a series called War Castles. And he did a really great overview, the War Castles overview. We're going to talk about Sergeant. We're going to play some of that interview. I'm going to play quite a good portion of it, like 3/4 of it, and just take out the parts that he wanted to remain private. That's going to be played here towards the end. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, this is live, and this is in the now time. It is happening right now. Okay, so First of all, I think I can foresee the future because in some previous videos, I said I think Rachel Dara Prince is going to be a problem for Russell J. Gould, and that very well is the case. So I'm going to do a quick screen share, and what I'm going to be doing is sharing my entire screen to make it a little bit easier. All right, so now I want to make sure everybody can see this, and I think you can. Just want to double check. Okay, so you could see that. Okay, so this is a Quantum Grammar newsletter that came out on August 10th, 2021. Today is the 17th of August, so that would be 7 days ago, a week from today. And I shared this in my Telegram groups. So, greetings, quantum community. There are some changes happening within Chiefs Now space. And if you fast forward, Russell J. Gould channel are in temporary hold. We are working on making this transition in a peaceful manner. Don't be alarmed with any of the changes on the site in the next few days or weeks. Stay away from these sites and channels. We will let you know of the all clear as soon as possible. Rachel Dara Prince is with the void authorization as the media press liaison of the chief, which means that she's no longer authorized to speak for Russell J. Gould in any capacity. She's no longer his media secretary. There is a Psyop being played out in a quantum venue at this time. And let's see here. I lost track of where I was at. There is a Psyop being played out in the quantum venue at this time on the chief. This is for the purpose of the character tarnishing and sabotage of our chief and our quantum movement of bringing the solutions forward, but the Psyops failed. Now, the funny thing about this Psyop thing is this is something that he mentions when he court-martialed Sgt Robert Horton. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, I'll show you the video. It'll be linked down below of where Russell J. Gould, he court-martialed Sgt Robert Horton in the quantum grammar on his playground. So I did a video that you could search, and I think I have it linked down below. It's called Emergency Broadcast. Fools Gould is attacking my channel. And if you look at this, what it is days is Stranger Than Fiction. Russell, I was going to fast forward just a tad bit so you can see here, but this is where I got a copyright claim on 2 videos. And had I let this happen, I would have gotten 2 strikes, would have most definitely affected my channel. And considering I have 2 strikes right now, my channel would be gone. So I made the right decision in getting rid of those videos. There's information in the video description about that, and I encourage you to check out this video, Emergency Broadcast. Fools Gould is attacking my channel. Basically, they were trying to say that I was using copyrighted information and wanted my videos to get strikes, and I removed the video so I wouldn't get the strikes. And I ultimately removed all the Russell J. Gould stuff. You can see the 2 interviews that I did, because I did 2 interviews with Russell J. Gould trying to give him an opportunity to prove himself. Those are linked down below in the video description, and they're on Odysee and LBRY. I deleted more than half of my videos on YouTube, so you can find my full catalog, all my videos, including those 2 interviews with Russell J. Gould and the 2 videos where I'm challenging him. Update on the challenge, there's no update. I haven't heard a thing from Russell J. Gould. Russell, you still have an open invitation to come on the show. You definitely have an open invitation. Speaking of open invitations, I've been speaking out in previous videos about Robert David Steele and Sasha Stone. Both you guys are invited to come on my show, especially when you're going to be validating somebody who doesn't need validated and you're not doing your research on who people are. Russell J. Gould is a liar, a thief. He's dishonorable, and he cares not about freedom of speech. He is a dictator. He is judge, jury, and executioner on his playground that no government or anybody in this world recognizes, except for those who decide to drink his Kool-Aid. The next one will be Patriot Street Fighter, Scott McKay. I'm not sure what's going on with you, man. I've been talking to you a couple times on social media. I've invited you on the channel. I haven't heard back, but you seem to be endorsing Russell J. Gould, and I've shared a lot of information with you, Scott. So again, you have an open invitation to come on the show. I would love to educate you about who Russell J. Gould is, 100%. Now, if you look at this video here, it's called Vessel Name Transfer. I'm not even going to speak it in a quantum because that's not how I roll. But you can see my mouse here. This is where he is basically removing and stripping Sergeant Robert Horton of any status and renaming him in the now space as Trashy-Bitch. I had to let Sergeant Robert Horton know about this. And if you go on to scroll forward as in the video, it moves down because it's giving you plenty of time to read this gibberish. And actually, I've had plenty of people who are very familiar with quantum grammar and have went through plenty of Russell's things, especially this one, and have shown where the information is not correct, where it's not written correct, where it's not using the right. It's using upper and lower case in combination with it basically makes no sense. It just means nothing, 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 nothing. Russell is an interesting character, but he wanted to attack Sergeant Robert Horton. A lot of people got involved with Russell J. Gould because of Sergeant Robert Horton. And a lot of people still to this day don't know that Sergeant Robert Horton's not involved any longer. And that Sergeant Robert Horton doesn't support what Russell is currently doing. And he no longer works with Russell in any capacity. Russell's made that clear here, where he wants, if you read through this yourself, and I definitely encourage you to, he's just basically trying to say all these negative things about Sergeant Robert Horton, his Psyop hat, abandoning some kind of drunk on position, abandoning post. It's drunk on post, void clearance, sulfuric acid, bath hat, void, make it. I mean, a lot of this just doesn't make any sense. So Sergeant Robert Horton gave me permission to share this video, which I'm going to do here in just 1 second. Now, I do want to make a quick public service announcement. If you're on Telegram and you've seen this group, Sergeant Robert Horton, with 18,288 subscribers, all 18,288 of you are being duped because this is not Sergeant Robert Horton. He asked me to let everybody know. He's told me he will do a video with me and Pimpy. He's dealing with law enforcement over this issue. I told him law enforcement can't help him with this issue. But I'm assuring you that this particular, actually, it looks like the number has gone up. This particular Telegram group, and I haven't searched for any more, but this particular one, Sergeant Robert Horton's little Telegram group right here, which you can find at Sergeant Robert Horton, is not Sergeant Robert Horton. This is not Sergeant Robert Horton. I've been inside a Telegram group and trying to tell people. I'm surprised that the fake Sergeant Robert Horton hasn't deleted me out of the group. But I assure you. So I want to quickly stop screen sharing so I can see what everybody's saying real quick in the chat. Excuse me. I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Julie F., a media secretary with the so-called authority to court-martial members. Rachel threatened to court-martial Rice and myself if we were to interview Sergeant Robert Horton. Yes, Dan, you're exactly right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing that because, and I mentioned that in previous videos. I was told that if we would have done an interview with Sergeant Robert Horton, that we would have been court-martialed in quantum grammar, that we would not have been able to do any interviews with Russell J. Gould. Me and Stan did those interviews together. Stan from Bodhisattva Love. Go check out his channel. Subscribe. We do a video at least every 2 weeks, and I hope we're going to be doing one Saturday, Stan. I want to give you a call after this. I'll text you a little bit after I'm done with this stream. Travis says, I don't get a good feeling about Sasha, and I don't watch Scott since he's been promoting him. Thanks for sharing that, Travis. And again, Scott and Sasha, you guys both have an open invitation. Robert David Steele, the CIA spook, once a spook, always a spook. You have an invitation to come on the show. You guys aren't doing your research, man. There is plenty of research out. There's plenty of information out there of what Russell is doing as far as scamming people. He makes agreements with individuals, gets paid to do these agreements, doesn't perform the agreements, and doesn't return the funds. That is lying and that is stealing. That is dishonorable, and those are not qualities that we need to have in a leader. Pimpy's investment chat. Russell J. Fool, what's going on, brother? Yeah, originally this video with Sergeant was supposed to be me, Pimpy, and Sergeant today, but Sergeant had to back out. So, yep, Sergeant Horton sold it. Now can see he played. I'm not really sure what that means, but here's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go back to that screen share. I want to go on full screen once I do. And then I'm just going to play this video from Sgt Robert Horton. I want to get my phone chat pulled up because I need you guys to give me a 5x5 and let me know that you can hear me. Let me see who texted me. Pimpy, this was just gonna be a solo stream, as I told you. If you want to join after I'm done sharing this, I'll send you a link. Just give me a moment, Pimpy. I just want to share parts of this video that I did with Sgt Robert Horton back on January 31st. You can't find this video. It's a private video. It's listed privately, so you're not going to be able to find this video. I'm sharing what I'm sharing because Sgt Robert Horton gave me permission. We had a talk today about some things, and he understands where I'm coming from, and I'm respecting leaving out certain information that doesn't even apply to what we're really even talking about. So give me a moment, Pimpy. And when I was saying a 5x5 on sound, I was saying a 5x5 on sound once I start playing this video, because I want to make sure that everything is good to go. So I'm pulling up my phone. Oh, there's volume. Turn the volume down, and okay. So I should be able to do this now. Share audio, entire screen, share, and go back here. So give me a 5x5 if you can hear this video, please. You have just tuned in for the latest transmission of Stranger Than Fiction. And joining me on today's show is Sgt Robert Horton. Some of you may be familiar with him from the War Castles video series about Russell J. Gould. And this is hopefully going to be the first of many videos that I do with Sgt Robert Horton. But this particular video, I wanted to invite him on to get his side of the story about what happened between him and Russell J. Gould and their fallout. 5x5 on that real quick. Let me see what we got. 5x5. Okay, looks like everybody can hear. Can you hear it well? Can you hear it good? Because I don't think I could turn it up. Let me double check my volume here. And I need to plug my computer in. So bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Again, smash that like button. It helps other people to be able to see this information in the YouTube algorithm flow. Sorry for the little deal there, but all right. So I'm going to fast forward this bad boy to about the 2-minute, 10-second mark and play through till about 3 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me on today's show is Sgt Robert Horton. Some of you may be familiar with him from the War Castle series that is covering Russell J. Gould. Sergeant, I appreciate you accepting my invitation to come on today. How are you?
I'm good, Rice. Thanks for having me on.
And I know that you wanted to, you didn't want to do a lot of video. We were going to go to audio. So I wanted everybody to know before we started, this is actually Sgt Robert Horton, who I am having a conversation with. So I invited him on to have a conversation about getting his side of the story in regards to the situation with War Castles and Russell J. Gould. And hopefully this will be the first of many conversations, and this should be the last conversation that we have in regards to Russell J. Gould. So, all right. So, again, this was recorded January 31st, and he gave me permission to release it. Then him and his wife reached out to me and asked me not to release it. Talked to him today. He gave me permission. So this is for the record. Going to go ahead and fast forward this a little bit to the 5-minute and 5-second mark and play through for about 4 minutes. So, okay. So that you met Russell and you guys you became friends and you started ultimately working together. How did that come about as far as you getting involved in War Castles, and how did that work? Did you end up getting a live life claim and contract with Russell? How did all that come about?
So after going and talking with Russ and meeting Dave and Russ face to face, I got the story from them about what they did. They're basically explaining it the best they can in all their videos. They're telling you exactly what they did. You just have to have an open ear to hear it and to comprehend it. Okay. Yeah, I after hearing the story, I came back here and I talked to a bunch of guys, and I was like, man, did you guys know anything about this? And there was talk of it back in 1999, but It kind of sputtered out. I don't know what happened there. My guess is that, you know, they hashed it all out. But there was talk of it back in 1999 when this was going on. And after hearing it from Russ and Dave, I was like, you guys, you know, Russ was trying to get the story told. He's like, I need help at this point. I need help getting the story told so people understand what I did. And yeah, we're having a big problem doing that. Everybody thinks that we're just postal judges and that you know, we can get you out of your traffic ticket.
Right.
And so yeah, I was willing to help. I mean, yeah, what a story. I mean, yeah. So I told Russ, sure, I'll help. So he gave me the permission to tell his story, just like you get permission from anybody else.
Okay, so you see this video, the War Castles overview video. This is one of the videos that a lot of people should be very familiar with as far as Sgt Robert Horton and the things that he had talked about and how he was promoting Russell J. Gould and how much knowledge he had on the subject.
Write a book or do a movie, you had to get permission from whoever the original author of the material is. So, you know, he gave me permission to do it.
Okay. So you didn't contract with them and get like a live claim and become part of the quantum grammar community per se?
Oh, I had to get a claim of the life to start it out because he turned me into a foreign correspondent for him to give me the permission
Okay.
to tell the story. So yeah, but I wasn't part of the corporation. I wasn't brought in as a corporate individual, sworn in, given a salary, given money, given, you know, benefits and benefits and a retirement or a pension or anything like that. I'm not part of the corporate structure. I'm just a guy that came along that said he'd help, and he gave the permission to tell a story.
And that's how the whole entire War Castles thing came about. Is that correct?
Yeah, he wanted to tell his story, so he made a documentary.
Okay. And obviously you helped with that. And I'm doing a screen share real quick and showing people the overview video, because that's one of the things that when I first was covering War Castles and War for Souls, this was one of the go-to things for people that I was recommending to people was your overview video, because it kind of covered it encompassed everything and summarized it really well to give people a good understanding before they actually get into the War Castle series itself, which I think was like 10 or 11 videos. Then I ultimately did 2 interviews with Russell J. Gould, and I do want to stress that none of this is an attack on Russell. I want to make sure that we're being very clear on that. All questions hold towards the end, because of the way I'm doing the screen share, I can't see the questions necessarily to be able to answer you in real time without stopping the video like I just did. So hold the questions. I definitely will get back to you on the questions. Russell J. Gould is not the Postmaster General in the world. We'll get into that here in just a moment. You yourself, if I'm not mistaken, Robert, you basically, and I would say that what Russell claims he did back in 99 and a few years after, we're not saying he didn't do that. In fact, he very well more than likely did do those things, but ultimately he just created his own playground and nobody wanted to play on his playground. So and what's the use of having a playground that nobody wants to play on? So it's like he won the game, but he's the only person that's able to play it right now. And it's so I just wanted to clarify that, because you know we're going to get into some. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next part, because that is kind of where the information of the XYZ is that we're not really going to speak of out of respect for Sgt Robert Horton. Again, I appreciate you, Robert Horton, for giving me permission to release this. It's August 17th, so we're talking 7.5 months later, but here it is, and here's the next part.
And about 2 weeks later, this video pops up on YouTube where he's claiming he's court-martialing me, calling me the trashy bitch. Well,
okay, so I just showed you that video, this one right here, you know, where he's right here, acknowledged by the trashy hyphen bitch Robert Leroy Horton. Okay, and then if you keep scrolling or keep fast forwarding, it goes into there's just more trashy hyphen bitch. So again, this is the video that I had to let Sgt Robert Horton know came out. It sucked telling him, because you know he had a lot of love for this whole thing. He's a very, very much a patriotic person. Definitely an American and cares about his country. And so it sucked telling him about this, but this is what he's referring to with the video from 2 weeks ago. I'll take that back.
And about 2 weeks later, this video pops up on YouTube where he's claiming he's court-martialing me, calling me the trashy bitch. Well,
trashy hyphen bitch.
in
the quantum grammar, if you're going to get it correct, I'm just saying. But yeah.
So after what he had done that he was forgiven for 2.5 years ago, he thought for some reason I was going to go ahead and make this public. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. So he decided in a knee-jerk reaction that he needed to discredit me and smear me as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. And so he did what he did. So to add insult to injury to himself, he just shot himself in the face is all he did. And it was
so let me pause for a moment, because what I want to clarify with people is when I first learned about Russell J. Gould, I started looking into things. I started talking to Pimpy Lee Freeman, who used to work with your wife, and he connected me with you. At this time period, all the images that you see are fair use images. So in case anybody wants to get me for copyright claims, all images are fair use images. Thank you. I want to say you weren't working with Russell, but you weren't making it known to me. And you were being completely respectful of the entire situation. You weren't mentioning none of this that me and you were talking about right now. It was when when that video came out, we actually had a conversation that day, and I sent you a link to that video, and I'll put it down below, where he's put some sort of quantum grammar contract together, court-martialing you, like you said, and was really immature and using a lot of foul language and just unnecessary, just kind of childish in a lot of ways. And then I did a couple of interviews, learned some things from Pimpy Lee, who you know.
Love you, Pimpy.
Lee's made it very publicly known that he made some deals with Russell to do some work, and Russell never followed through with it, and he had prepaid for it to be done. So basically he hasn't gotten any money back or the services rendered. And I've been learning from a lot of various people that this is kind of a consistent thing. So the situation that you're saying, the XYZ thing, was just kind of like the icing on the cake for you in a way, in a sense, where now he went public with this, and you haven't had a chance to really come out and say anything to anybody. And people were just wondering what happened to Sergeant, because you were such a big part of the Warcastle stuff. I mean, you were almost the face of it, presenting Russell J. Gould, and then all of a sudden you're not a part of it. And it's like, what happened? And so I really felt like we needed to kind of get this out. And like I said, I want this to be the first of many conversations with you. So I just felt like we need to clear the air and close the chapter on this. And but what are your thoughts on, because I say it's a lack of integrity and honor. What are your thoughts on, and that's just my opinion, but what are your thoughts on the fact that Russell owes people money for not doing services he's agreed to and has been paid for it, or has been impatient with quantum grammar students, or ends up not wanting to teach people once they get to a certain point, because he seems to be protective of not allowing others to be able to have a complete comprehension, understanding of what he knows, because he feels like it'll be used against him. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about what he's got going on contractually with anybody else. That's not my business.
Here, I just want to highlight, this is the kind of individual, the kind of man that Sgt Robert Horton is, because he's, even at this opportunity where he could say something negative, he chooses not to say anything negative, which is taking the high road. And I got to commend Sgt Robert Horton for that.
I don't have any insight to any of that kind of stuff, but yeah, he burned the friendship between he and myself for sure. And after doing what he did, we just blackballed him. Everybody was just like, that was it for us. So yeah, I mean, as far as what he's doing with other folks out there with these contracts, and I don't know what kind of work he's into with them, but yeah, basically I think what he's doing is he'll lead you along to a certain point, and then he'll expect you to, at that point, grasp it and then take it in and handle it yourself. A lot of folks are more inclined to have it in their hand held the whole way through.
Right.
And he's just not willing to do that. He bows out. He's like, no, here's how you do it. And if you can't figure it out for yourself, then, later. And it's unfortunate for the people that are paying him money to be led to that particular point and dropped. So I don't know exactly what he's got going on, but and who he's dealing with or any of the contracts you're talking about. But
no, I appreciate you being honest. I mean, these are just things that I've heard from a multitude of people, and it's not where I'm trying to make up hearsay. This is actual, I've seen documentation and stuff. I understand that you haven't seen it, but it was something I wanted to ask your thoughts. And I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people in the quantum grammar community that's had that same issue of paying Russell and not getting the services rendered or the money returned, or they will have situations where they have problems learning what Russell's teaching them, and Russell gets impatient and just stops communicating, or somebody ends up learning up to a certain point. And once you get to a certain point, then he cuts you off because there's only so much information he's going to teach, because he has to have leverage over people by having all the rest of the information. So it is what it is. I'm not going to keep expounding upon it. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to the next part.
And all he did at that point, after the official review was done by the military, they were like, okay, dude, you can't do this, Russ. They're like, you can't claim to be a postmaster general. You can't claim to be a commander in chief. When were you in the military? He's like, never. Okay, well, where did you serve as a postmaster general at in any other capacity? And
so this is after apparently Russell actually communicated with the military. I couldn't remember which branch, who he was talking to specifically, but this is what Robert Horton is referring to, is communications with the United States of America military, our armed forces in some capacity.
All he did at that point, after the official review was done by the military, they were like, okay, dude, you can't do this, Russ. They're like, you can't claim to be a postmaster general. You can't claim to be a commander in chief. When were you in the military? He's like, never. Okay, well, where did you serve as a postmaster general at in any other capacity anywhere around the world? He's like, well, nowhere. Like, that's fraud, man. You can't be telling people you're this and that when you have no professional training in it whatsoever. And his defense back was, well, I set up my own government system and I have claim to these titles, et cetera, et cetera. They said, yeah, well, what you've ultimately done here is declare your sovereignty. So, that's it. You can't go jumping into other countries, not even your own international affairs, to try to make a change like this under, the auspices of fraud.
Yeah. But, so you can take that part back. But again, the military is saying that what Russell was doing was fraudulent because he's never served in the military. He's never served in any capacity of a postmaster general or even a postman in that regard. So, okay. So we're going to fast forward to the last part, and it's like another minute and a half, and then we'll review something, and then I'll answer some questions. Okay. So, okay. In my thoughts right now, I mean, even though Russell may have done all these great things, something has transpired. This is my opinion. The Russell J. Gould today, I don't feel is the honorable person with the integrity that we need to have as a commander in chief, as a leader of people. So I think he's just going to remain a man on an island unto himself, a guy on the playground with nobody else playing with him. So it's kind of sad to think about that, because good things could have come out of this. But when you don't have the politicians and the government taking the situation seriously, and then the military talking about fraud and things like that, it shows where he went in some off directions. But I definitely commend him for what he did do, and hopefully somebody can take this knowledge and move forward with it in some capacity to be able to come more correct, in my opinion. So, well,
yeah, he basically, it's definitely become the the Russell J. Gould, Jerry Springer show.
Oh yeah, it's in my opinion. So, well,
yeah, he basically, it's definitely become the the Russell J. Gould, Jerry Springer show.
Oh yeah, it's turned into that.
And I'm not doing, we don't do drama where I come from, and I don't do drama. I'm too damn old for it, or this, soap opera type of horse shit. And that's, we just cut ties with all of it. The story was what was important. And Russell, of course, he is who he is, and he did what he did. But yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to him.
It's all good, man. Well, one, I mean, I know you wanted to keep this short.
Okay, so that's pretty much all that I was going to share from this interview. I mean, you've heard about 3/4 of the interview. I do want to remind people that this particular group on Telegram, at Sgt Robert Horton, spelled out, is not Sgt Robert Horton. So please, if you're in this group, please let other people know. I talked to Sgt Robert Horton. He hopefully will be doing a video with me and Pimpy soon. And yeah, so this is not Sgt Robert Horton at all. So please let people know, for people that that are in the quantum grammar community that looked up to Sgt Robert Horton and got involved because of Sgt Robert Horton, please let them know about this interview. Please let them know that that Sargent no longer supports, endorses Russell J. Gould. He doesn't work with him in any capacity, and he has nothing more to say on the situation. You can review what happened in this video, the vessel name transfer. I do encourage you to check out this emergency broadcast that I put out and all the videos that are listed below in the video description, including the original interviews and where I challenged Russell, which are all on Odysee and LBRY. And again, I think it's really funny. Here I was saying that Rachel Dara Prince is going to be a problem, and she's representing Russell J. Gould, and here she is being kicked out. She's being kicked out of the quantum grammar. Now, you've got two situations. You have Sgt Robert Horton, and Sgt Robert Horton's sort of was in the capacity of press secretary. I mean, he was in a sense speaking for Russell. He was given authority to do so until his authority was taken away from him, and then the trashy hyphen bitch stuff, the Psyop stuff. And now he's having problems with Rachel. So Rachel, I'm pretty much assuming this because I don't have this 100% correct, because I don't know this as factual evidence, but I've got enough of a feeling and intuition that she wasn't just his secretary. She was involved with him in some romantic capacity because he was living with her and he moved in with her. Let me see here. It had to be summer, if not spring of last year. So they've been together for about a year, and now they're breaking up, is the way I look at it. Breaking up. So as far as Russell J. Gould agreeing to render services and getting paid for it and not returning it, again, I've spoken with a multitude of people in the quantum grammar community alone. Pimpy, from Pimpy's investment chat, Lee Freeman, has been very vocal about what happened with him. Anna von Reitz from American States Assembly has been very vocal about what happened with her. Who's Rada Tahar? I don't really understand half of what you say. Claim you knowledge of truth of Russell, so anyone of your watcher may answer. I mean, obviously, English is not your first language, and I'm not going to discredit you for that. But I'm not understanding anything you're saying. So, does anybody have any questions? I do appreciate you for tuning in. Again, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed on my backup YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to Rice TVx 2, the sequel. Links are down below. Make sure you follow me on Odysee. We still got 3 more days, and then my first strike will be removed, and I should be good to go. Julie F. says, I have always had the utmost respect for Sgt Robert Horton and how he's handled the garbage that was handed to him. I do too, Julie. And again, after doing this interview, we recorded this interview 3 times, and I've had 2 other recorded conversations with him. So, I have a relationship with Sgt Robert Horton, and I know where he stands, and I got a lot of respect for Sarge. Sgt Horton legit with the original broadcast. Yes, his original broadcast and his talk on War Castles and a War Castles overview, I think, is really what helped sell Russell to the public. especially in the past couple years. No answer. Truth holder of grammar. Your quantum grammar used to be called the truth language. It's gone through many changes, as Russell has had to change his tune several times to keep his scam going. So you have no honor or respect. So I have no, actually, here's what I want to do for you, buddy. Rada, you are now blocked, my friend. So that's it from you. Appreciate you. Hey, Chris, I know gold was a tool, but person life isn't really a public right, is it? Maybe ask Russell. But person life isn't really a public right. Not really sure what you're meaning by that. A person is a corporation in legal terms, in legal definition. Yeah, Rada is definitely a troll. Wouldn't even surprise me if Rada was Russell himself. And Russell, again, you have an open invitation. I have challenged you. You have not answered my challenge. Instead, you have used YouTube to put counter copyright strikes on my channel to try to take away my free speech, which is hypocritical of everything that you act like you stand for. No matter what you may or may not have done in the past, the person, the boy that you are today is dishonorable. You're a thief. You're a liar. You're a hypocrite. But you have an open invitation to come on the show, and I won't attack you. I've been cool with you before. And if you want to talk to me about this directly, you want to talk about what happened with Sgt Robert Horton, you're more than welcome to come on. If you want to talk about what happened with Rachel Dara Prince, you're more than welcome to come on. And if Rachel was the problem and you knew nothing about this, you are more than welcome to come on and communicate this with me directly. If you want to share some information about what happened between you and Pimpy Lee Freeman, or what happened with Honor Von Rights, you have an open invitation to come on the show and explain to everybody what happened. So you know my email address. If you don't, it's down below in the video description. You can get it. Pimpy, if you want to come on, text me and let me know that you want to come on. I wasn't going to do that long of a stream. But if you want to come on, I got to use the bathroom too here in a second. So I may just call you and we may do a show. I'll see if you text me though. So take advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Get that free half ounce of silver. Be a first-time buyer at moneymetals.com and use the promo code RICE. You get a free half ounce of silver, and it's another way that you can support the channel and look out for yourself at the same damn time. Do appreciate everybody for tuning in. You forgot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, yeah. You said it. And I really seriously doubt that Russell J. Gould is going to have a conversation with David Williams. But Russell, you have an open invitation to come on a show with me and David Williams. I know David Williams would be totally game for doing it. If you haven't seen my interviews with David Williams, I have a playlist in my playlist section. You should definitely check it out. We have studied for 2 years. And happy to say I don't give my value outside the private. You definitely got to do things in the private versus the public. I want to be done with the subject, Travis Turner. I don't really want to keep it on. I've had a lot of requests of people asking me to do an update on Russell and let people know what was going on. And it so worked out that Sgt Robert Horton gave me permission. I was actually mad at him for reschedule or for canceling today, and I told him I was going to release the video, and he's like, "No, don't do that, don't." And I basically told him I wasn't going to release the parts that he didn't want released, and I would release everything else. And he was cool with that. He's like, "As long as you keep it classy." So, excuse me, I just burped. I'll actually read what Sergeant said. He doesn't want any more back and forth on this, is what he asked. And let's see, he said his family's over it, which I respect. That's the reason why he didn't really want to do this video. He said, that would be fine, Rice. Just do me a favor. I don't want to reopen some sort or any sort of back and forth on this. And then he says, feel free to tell folks that the telegrammer is not me. people are freaking nuts. Why would people do something like that? I don't know. And I told him, if you want to do a show at me and Lee in the future, let me know. He's like, of course I do. Let me get this handled, and then we'll have a good story to tell. And he's talking about what's happening with the person impersonating him on Telegram. And he said, just keep it classy, please. So I tried to keep it as classy as I could. I tried to keep this as straightforward, tried to share all the information that was relevant, that was not private for the interview with Sgt Robert Horton. So I hope you found value in that. I hope you found value in my prediction of the future with Rachel Dara Prince. If you know Russell, or Russell, you're watching this, reach out to me. Let's do a video. Answer my challenge, answer my questions. I have lots of questions, and I will be respectful asking you those questions, and I will give you time to answer. So you definitely have an open invitation. I appreciate Louis Colbert. Thank you. Julie F. Thank you, Chris, for your integrity and bringing the truth. I appreciate that. I try my best, and I really don't want to call people out, but sometimes it has to be done, and it's a dirty job, and somebody's got to do it. Stomping Warrior 27 says, you kept it classy. Good job. Thank you. I appreciate that, Stomping Warrior. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I wouldn't have got where I am now without the journey. There's a point. Timing is always super. Now, I'm not saying that Russell J. Gould didn't have a purpose to play. And I'm not saying that people waking up because of things he taught was a bad thing. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to put that negative connotation on them. I'm saying that the person who Russell J. Gould is, the boy that Russell J. Gould is today, the liar, the thief, the dishonorable hypocrite, that is not leadership quality that we need to have in our country. He is a judge, jury, and executioner and dictator all wrapped in one, and he said this. And you would be contracting with him in the maritime if you were to contract into quantum grammar. Thank you, TPA. I appreciate you. I'm hearing that Rachel's a little psychotic. You guys can check out Rachel Prince has used to do Airbnb videos. Like she was the Airbnb queen. You guys can check out her stuff. I think she has her own YouTube channel where she talks about her Airbnb. You can kind of get an idea of what kind of individual she is. And I appreciate Travis. I know you were joking. NC, you always go to the jugular. Love Rice. NC is actually, Russell used to live in North Carolina. That's where he spent some time with David Williams, as a matter of fact. So Russell knows North Carolina very well. I talk about this in my crypto videos, my thoughts on crypto taking over fiat and an international money exchange. I do see fiat money dying. We are at the death of that. I can't predict that Bitcoin and decentralized cryptocurrencies will be the world reserve currencies, but they will definitely be the people's money. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I agree, and give him your thumbprint too. Yeah, you got to give him your thumbprint. Crazy. So again, thank you for tuning in. Share this video with people that have drinking the quantum grammar Kool-Aid. I'm not saying quantum grammar is bad. Quantum grammar could be useful for contracts. It's very, very possible and very legitimate. If you learn it correctly, it could be very useful for contracts and only contracts. That doesn't mean that when you instant message or write somebody a letter or a text that you need to speak to them in quantum grammar, because that's not how quantum grammar works. Even Russell has said that in the previous interviews that I did with him. So I do thank you for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. I'm going to play my promo video to end the video just in case you missed that. And yeah, thank you again. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this banner stuff while I'm doing this. I'm trying to be quick because I need to use the restroom really bad. It just kind of crept up on me. So thank you again. I got some videos coming out this week. Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Crypto Rewind. Me and Satoshi Sean will be joined by Litecoin Lisa. I believe me and Stan will be doing a video on Saturday for Rise and Stand with Rice and Stan. And there'll be a couple videos coming out between tomorrow and Thursday as well. So just stay tuned. I appreciate you for tuning in. And as always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change. And I'm going to go ahead and play that promo. If I can find it. Yeah. It's just one of those days. If this just happens to be your first time ever watching any of my videos, I do encourage you to check out and explore my channel. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my videos as they come out. Also, due to all the recent censorship, make sure you subscribe to my backup channel, Rice TVx 2, the sequel. And I've also recently deleted more than half of my videos on my main YouTube channel, which means you can find 100% of my content plus exclusive videos over on Odysee and LBRY. If you haven't already, be sure to visit ricetvx.com and sign up for the mailing list so that you never miss an update or new Rice TVx content. You can also find all my social media links as well as merchandise that is coming soon. If you'd like to support the channel directly, consider joining my Patreon, where I have 3 different levels of membership. Or if you'd like to send a direct contribution or tip, I have my Cash App information, PayPal, and my CoinTree link for cryptocurrency addresses listed below in the video description. Take advantage of my partnership with Money Metals Exchange. Get your free ½ ounce of silver. All you need to do is be a first-time buyer, visit moneymetals.com, purchase a minimum of $100, and use the promo code RICE. You get that free ½ ounce of silver, and it's another way to support the channel. I will include links down below in the video description. You know, there was something I wanted to add real quick, and I did use the bathroom while I was doing that. So what I did want to add was it's really funny when you look at what happened with Sgt Robert Horton and the Psyop thing, and then you look what happened with Rachel, and you see the Psyop thing. So the common denominator between the two, because Rachel and Sargent don't even know each other, would be Russell J. Gould. So I would say the Psyop is Russell J. Gould because he's the common denominator for all the problems that he's having. I've been through this in the past with having anger problems. And that's one of the reasons why I've been on my path of change, my path of practice change, was to get away from who I was and to be a better me. And Russell, you know, you still can do that. There's still plenty of time to change who you are and be a better person and practice change every day. But the common denominator here is you. So you need to think about that. And what I would encourage you, Russell, is to look in the mirror long and hard. Again, you have that open invite. Much love.